name is Sushant, and since morning listening to these talks have been like the built up has been actually happening for my talk. So wait, what I where I want to begin this talk is really asking you a question, and you'll be perplexed by the question because this question has been disquieting for everybody from times immemorial. And when you listen to that question, the first thing you'll say is that, can I get an answer in the next 10 minutes? And the answer is yes. So my question is, who am I? Who are you? Are you this name which I just introduced myself with, or am I what my parents call me to be? So they call me adamant, caring, naive, and a good listener. Or am I what my colleagues experienced me to be? An understanding, a person who doesn't listen, who is protective of his employees, and yet speaks his own mind? Or am I what my friends think I am? A patient, good friend, a happy go lucky person? Or am I that doting, loving, supportive father which my daughter thinks I am? And 35 years of my life, I lived like that, a mixture of all these, living through these opinions, judgments which people gave me. And I guess each one of us is living life like that. Things happened, people said something, and we believed them, walking our life through those things which have boxed us. And I'll tell you what, Aman, my son, was born in the year 2000. And within the first 3 years of his life, I got the answer to the question who I was. And that day, when I realized who I really was, my whole respect for humanity, my respect for being human, altered forever. And what me and my wife, Monica, saw was simply unbelievable. So, at about 2.5, 3 year old, this kid wanted to do everything himself. He would get into the washroom saying, I can take my own bath. And 40 minutes later, he would walk out with face soap on his face, the bathroom looking like a beach. He would literally take away the spoon from our hand and say, I will eat on my own. So we could see that 3-year-old guy full of self-belief, full of self-confidence. He would sit in the car, get onto the driver's seat and say, I will drive. And very nonchalantly ask us, where do you want to go? His self-esteem right up there. He would surprise us with his questions, innumerable of them, and very creative. His zest to know everything, his zest to explore was like simply immutable. And his self-expression, it was unbelievable to see how he could express himself anywhere. We would be watching a movie which could be a very sad story, and suddenly you will hear a laughter, and it'll be right this kid sitting right next to me laughing all out. He could sing anywhere he wants to, whether he knows it or not. So this was a kid who could do everything. Then it was very difficult for us to stop him into jumping into a swimming pool, or holding on to him when he wants to hold on to a dog's tail while we're walking on the road. Fear had no meaning for him. That word didn't exist in his dictionary. So what I saw was a child at 3 who was high on self-confidence, self-esteem, self-expression, stress-free, creative, imaginative, exploring, fearless. And that led me to observe hundreds and thousands of other children. And these stared in my face like a fact. Like in all those children, we could see the no limitness, each of these elements being present. And in a few, these elements were coming out of the clouds of the experiences they had which had suppressed them. But were they there? The answer is yes. And that day I realized who I really was. Like 35 years of my life living with these labels. An arrogant, yet a good listener. A weak guy who's strong. And the day I could see these labels as labels, I had the power to take them off. Like, really, I could actually take them off in my life. But to tell you what, this process wasn't easy. It required practice and it required persistency. These labels keep coming back, and I had to keep removing them. But after a while, they had lost their stickiness. And what happened? Who came out was a no limit person. Like, it was for me a rebirth. Like, if you ask me really right now, this small exercise of just taking them away still gives goose pimples. It's like a rebirth of this person who's been living his for 35 years of his life, bundled, boxed by these. And once I could take them off, everything and anything was possible. My whole life altered. A person who was not able to speak in front of people, a person who would not open his mouth in a classroom, was there leading workshops, training people, taking sessions, conferences, doing talks. Even as a vice president of a multinational company, those management meetings, those presentations to the board were an ordeal. Like, I'll tell you, I used to offer this to my people who were in my team, and I was known to be a great boss because I gave them the opportunity. But inside, they didn't know what's happening. I was actually taking my pressure off by giving it to them. Then, not just my self-expression, the manifestation of my self-expression altered. I could actually give up my job at the helm of my career and say, I want to do something. I want to spread this to the world. We set up a company called Parvarish Institute of Parenting. And people said, Institute of Parenting, what are you doing? If you want to work with children, work with children. Parents are not going to come to you. And against the grain, against the winds, we said we will set it up. It's been 8 years and it's worked. The every effort is worth it. Life every day is altered for me. It's like now I dream with my eyes open. And I say to myself, how can I go to sleep if I've woken up to life? Every day is a new life. Every day is a life of exploration, a life of learning, growth, falling, getting up. It's a life being lived by a 3-year-old with a 47-year-old body. So friends, a small request. Let's identify our labels. Let's identify each one of them. And the way it was put onto us, I'm telling you, the power to pull it off is with you. And the minute you pull it off, who comes out is this no limit person. This access to our no limitness. And to put it right, till the time we are not able to access our no limitness as a human being and access this, the whole privilege of being born a human, we haven't used it. So friends, let's get real about the privilege of being born a human. And my small request, let's spread it out. Each one of us being born no limit and having the power to do everything and anything in our life. Thank you.